Ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to dive back into the WWE content as I tell you about the top 10 biggest returns that I have ever seen while watching the product. Please understand that this is completely opinionated, there is no facts in this. And also understand I began watching wrestling in 2006, so that's kind of the time frame we'll be working with in this video. Anyway, real quick before we start, don't forget to use code Wyatt's World on G Fuel or Prize Picks where you can save yourself a discount on any G Fuel products or match up to $100 of your first deposit. Don't forget to take advantage of the Jason Tatum free square. It's for the NBA Finals. He needs 1 point for the entry to win. But remember to always play responsibly, and let's get into the video. Alright, so kicking off this list with number 10, we have Christian's return in 2009. If you're scratching your head right now going, what? You have every right to. The only reason I remember this one so well is because the return was so awful that it's embedded in my head. Nothing Christian did either. It's just that they had him return in 2009 on a random episode of ECW to feud with Jack Swagger, where he would then go on to win the belt almost immediately and then be the face of ECW until it shut down. Dude, this was so random, not announced or anything, which is great. Unpredictability's awesome, but ECW, nobody watched that crap. I remember Swagger was feuding with Finlay for a while, and then yeah, there was just an episode where he came out. I think it started the show off. And I was just sitting in my chair kind of dozing off, and then all of a sudden I heard Christian's music hit, and I was like, what? I had never actually gotten to see him in the WWE. I had only gotten to see him in like home videos because he left before I started watching, so to me this was like mind-blowing, and it was even more mind-blowing that it was on ECW and had absolutely no promotion. I was so happy to see him back. I'm still happy we got to see that second run out of him, but might have been the worst return of all time, and that's what makes it so memorable. Next up, we have the time Triple H and The Undertaker both returned on an episode of Raw in 2011. This one was absolutely insane, if anybody can remember. This is when the WWE was airing a bunch of very cryptic promos. It was like a rainy shack out in the middle of a desert, and for a while there was speculation that it was actually going to be Sting, but then the WWE did reveal that it was going to be The Undertaker. However, that's all they ever told us, was that it was going to be The Undertaker, and this was the first time we had seen him since he retired Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 26. I remember this so well. I was sitting in the basement with my brother watching, and The Undertaker's music hit on Raw, and he started to walk out, and you know how it takes him like 40 minutes to get to the fucking ring. I remember looking at my brother, and I'm like, I'm gonna go upstairs and grab a snack. I'll be right back. I go upstairs, I'm in the kitchen talking to my mom, and then all of a sudden I hear, time to play the game. And I was like, what the fuck? I sprinted downstairs, skipping like 3 at a time, did a baseball slide into the living room, and basically sat on the floor right in front of the TV where I would watch Triple H and Undertaker have that infamous stare down with the WrestleMania 27 sign in the background. Like, this was enormous. 2 huge returns. We hadn't seen, I don't think, either of them pretty much all year. And now they were face to face, obviously setting up a WrestleMania mega match. I also think the reason Triple H has floored me, and I think everyone so much, is because when Undertaker came back and they revealed that it was Undertaker, we all thought that was it. But no, they gave us a whole ass another surprise return, Triple H, and it's one of those moments in television history that I still have never forgotten. Now moving on, we have another 2-for-1, and it's the time Triple H and Rey Mysterio returned at SummerSlam 2007. Now, neither of these were surprise returns, but the reason that they both stick with me so much is because they were the first returns that I ever really got to watch after I started watching wrestling, and I also got to watch it live on pay-per-view at my friend's and brag about it to my brother. I was pretty cool. Yeah, this was massive, dude. Triple H, Rey Mysterio, 2 of the biggest stars in the industry, both out with knee injuries, both missed WrestleMania 23, both were coming back at SummerSlam 2007. Rey fought Chavo Guerrero, Triple H fought King Booker, they both won, and getting to watch a pay-per-view live at that time felt like an actual dream. Still want to say it was one of Rey Mysterio's worst attires of all time though. He tried to be the Silver Surfer and he looked like shit. Alright, moving on, give me Cody Rhodes coming back to the WWE at WrestleMania 38. This one was a massive return to any wrestling fan out there. So if you're like me and you have watched Cody Rhodes since like he came up into the WWE, turned into Stardust and left, you would have probably not thought too much about him. You would have thought he was a good in-ring worker and that's about it, and he would have never been anything more than that. But once Cody left the WWE, he spent a number of years out on the indie scene reinventing himself. Lost the face paint, dyed his hair, and and created what we now know as the American Nightmare. I don't try to rhyme that, I just did. After that, anyway, Cody would start to build up a reputation for himself, where he would be offered a WWE contract, but turn it down to go and start AEW. He'd stay there for 2 or 3 years, then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, would have a fallout with Tony Khan, where he would leave the company and become a free agent. So that's where the rumors started. The rumors got stronger, but we got no confirmation, meaning the only way to find out on this was to sit down and watch WrestleMania 38 until Seth Rollins' match against his mystery opponent happened. Well, that time came, and lo and behold, it was indeed Cody Rhodes. The rumors were true, and it gave us probably one of the loudest pops and most memorable WrestleMania moments / returns in WWE history. It also felt odd seeing someone take their entire gimmick, name, and music from one company to the other, which I hope happens more, honestly. Cody Rhodes' return to WWE will always probably remain in my top 10. Now moving on, give me John Cena returning at Money in the Bank 2021 to confront Roman Reigns. Plain and simple, this one was just electric. There were rumors, heavy rumors, about John Cena coming back, but nobody knew when he was gonna come back. Me being the biggest John Cena fan, I wasn't gonna let myself miss that moment, so I was watching every piece of WWE programming for about a month before that, and I wasn't gonna rest my eyes until I saw it happen. Anyway, fast forward to Money in the Bank 2021, Roman Reigns and Edge put on a great main event match that would end in disqualification by Seth Rollins interfering. Roman would then take the microphone, say, "Acknowledge me," and proceed to leave the ring when John Cena's music would then go off, making the entire roof of the stadium blow off of its hinges. Now, this was a very short return. Cena would just come back, have a short program with Roman, face him at SummerSlam, and ultimately lose to him. But it's the fact that this return made a 24-year-old man living in an apartment by himself jump up and down, flailing his arms around like a toddler. That will always be one of my favorite returns, and I still go back and watch that weekly. Moving on, we have the time Chris Jericho returned in 2007. This was the first ever major surprise return I ever got to witness. That's why it sticks with me. But in 2007, they had about a month or two stretch on Monday Night Raw where they would air these cryptic text promos. Then to close out one night, Randy Orton was having some passing of the torch ceremony where a guy was running from Miami to Fort Lauderdale, literally carrying a fucking torch, where the jogger would then be clotheslined as he was running into the arena. The cryptic promo would go off one final time, then revealing that it was Chris Jericho. This was like a Christian moment to me, okay? I had gotten to watch Jericho on home videos, but he was gone before I had picked wrestling up, so I was already freaking out. But what was even cooler about this is when Jericho debuted his new short hair rock star look. Before this, he always had his long hair. I don't know why, that part just stuck with me though. I remember going, holy shit, he looks like that? He would then go on to immediately feud with Orton, lose to Orton, and then stick around in WWE for a couple years, having a pretty good lengthy second run. This is the kind of Jericho I like to remember, by the way, not the guy who's out there now. Ugh. Now moving on, we have The Rock returning in 2011, and this one really sticks with me because not only was it shocking, but it's one of the first times I ever heard my mom say the F word. So this happened at the very end of an episode of Monday Night Raw, and this made the show run like 30 fucking minutes past 10 o'clock when it was supposed to end. Anyway, what happened is they were revealing who the guest host for WrestleMania 27 was gonna be. The Rock walked out, everybody went crazy, and then he started cutting this promo. Okay, before I knew it, it was like 10:15, 10:20, and my mom usually always liked to watch TV as soon as wrestling was done, so I remember her walking in the living room going, "Is this done yet?" And she stopped and looked at the screen and went, "Is that the fucking Rock?" And I was just like, yeah! And then I'll never forget how quickly I went on to hate him because he started calling out John Cena right away. I was a big John Cena man, so I remember also saying out loud, "This is how it's gonna be." Anyway, this is what gave us the return to give us the once-in-a-lifetime match that ended up being so good they had to give it to us twice in a lifetime, and also probably kept the door open for the Rock returns that we have seen up until now. Now moving on to number 3, we have Brock Lesnar's return in 2012. Plain and simple, this is something that I just never ever thought was actually gonna happen. I had went back and watched a ton of Brock Lesnar matches before he left WWE. I always wanted to see him in WWE, but I was just under the impression that he was done. He went to the UFC, he was done with that, and he was just a retired athlete. But no, the night after WrestleMania 28, when John Cena lost to The Rock, Cena came out to congratulate The Rock, calling him out, and Brock Lesnar would then answer the call. I was speechless. I was literally fucking speechless. He walked out onto the ramp and I was just like, I didn't believe it. I was texting my friends who didn't even care about wrestling because I was that in awe. Then sadly, he would walk into the ring, pick John Cena up, flatten him with an F5, kick his hat off, and then taunt the crowd. I might not have been happy about that, but Brock Lesnar is one of my favorite athletes of all time, and the fact that I got to see him for 10 plus years after this return, totally awesome. Number 2, give me Edge at the Royal Rumble 2020. Another one that I thought was never ever gonna happen, and this one was because of medical reasons. Like, I thought this guy was cooked, and it really sucked because Edge went out as one of, I think, everybody's favorite wrestlers, and he went out too soon. Then anyway, 9 years later go by, the Royal Rumble 2020 is coming up, and there are rumors about Edge coming back, but I didn't take anything serious because there are always fucking rumors about the Royal Rumble. So I'm just watching the event, then I don't remember what number it was. I want to say it was right around 20. Fucking Edge came back. I remember I exploded and then immediately caught myself. I'm like, okay, wait. What if this is one-off? What if this is just a one-time thing? But then I watched him and he was taking bumps and he was actually lasting in the Rumble. He looked to be in excellent shape. And this did in fact turn out to be his full-time return because even though he's no longer in WWE, he is still wrestling today. This is the closest thing I can say to what it really would probably feel like to watch a ghost walk out in front of you. And not that he's dead, but I literally never ever thought we were gonna see him wrestle again. And finally, number 1, we have CM Punk returning at Survivor Series of 2023. I mean, how could this not be the best? The thing about this is I wasn't even watching wrestling at the time. I actually heard the roof of the stadium blow off 2 states over. Just kidding, but I wasn't watching wrestling. I was on my strike at the time. So I was just gaming in my living room downstairs, and then all of a sudden I got a text from my brother that says, you might want to turn Survivor Series on. I'm like, no, I don't care. He's like, no, I'm serious. He's coming back right now. And I was like, no, I don't care. 2 minutes later goes by, all of a sudden I have a Twitter link in my inbox and I was like, what the fuck? So I click on it. Sure shit, it was CM Punk walking out to the loudest pop I have ever heard since watching wrestling. Everybody on planet Earth heard about this, man. It was on Sports Center, it was on ESPN, it was everywhere. And this was massive because this is the true definition of hell froze over. This guy legitimately said some of the most unfathomable things about the company and the family who runs the company. There was no way he was ever gonna go back. And 9 years later, CM Punk is back in WWE. Really wish I would have been watching wrestling at the time because I would have absolutely ate this up watching it live. But this has got to be the most groundbreaking return of all time. I mean, this is the equivalent of Andrew Luck coming back to the Colts. Now, I know they're not by any means in the same situation, but that man has said time and time again, he is never playing football again. So imagine if he came back, what you would feel. And that is it, ladies and gentlemen, for my top 10 WWE returns since I've been watching the product. Let me know some returns that you guys think I left off. Let me know where you agree. Always, though, you guys know how it goes. I'm going to get this edited so you guys can watch it on time. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your Tuesday. And as always, I will see you in the next upload.